Call this meeting to order. In the spirit of truth and reconciliation, we acknowledge the town of Edson is located on Treaty 6 territory, the traditional and ancestral lands of the Niqawak, Soto, Siksika, Piikani, Kainai, Dene, Nakota Sioux, and the Tippemisiwak Métis nations. We honor the knowledge of this land, the elders and youth which gather here, and our ancestors who have gathered here for centuries. Can I get a motion that the agenda for the September 3rd, 2024 regular meeting of council be adopted with the addition of G5, 10th Avenue sanitary upgrade scope of work? Councillor Chenard.
I'll make the motion with the addition.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion is carried unanimously. Can I get a motion that the minutes of the August 20th, 2024 regular meeting of council be adopted as presented? Councillor Moore.
I so move.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion is carried unanimously. We have no public hearings, no presentations and delegations, but we do have bylaws this evening, and I'd like to welcome up Denise McDonald, our Senior Financial Advisor, who will be speaking on the Yellowhead Gas Co-op Limited Natural Franchise Gas Distribution Agreement.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Before you, administration has a franchise agreement for the Yellowhead Gas Co-op. In the package you have in your agenda, there's an RFD that shows that we're looking for all three readings to bylaw number 2300. And included in the package is the natural gas, the old agreement, the new agreement, as well as the bylaw. And so if we could go forward with my PowerPoint, or I do it myself? There, okay. The Yellowhead Gas Co-op is a franchise agreement that's regulated under the Rural Utility Gas Franchise. This is an unusual, not a standard situation with most urbans. And so it is regulated under the authority of the Gas Distribution Act. Rural gas co-ops are regulated under the Rural Utilities Act, and then the Municipal Government Act regulates the franchise agreement. So with that, we need to establish a new agreement with the Yellowhead Gas Co-op, and that will be for a 20-year agreement, and it will be established at the current rate. And the Act protects the town of Edson in that if a franchise agreement expired, the Municipal Government Act Section 47 protects the town in that it stays current until either party terminate, and neither party did terminate even though the franchise agreement is expired. So we're just bringing that up to date. So council, we asked council to establish a bylaw for the Yellowhead Co-op. In addition, we need approval for the new agreement. The agreement will require notice in the paper for 2 consecutive weeks. And then we will submit an application to the Alberta Utilities Commission for approval of the agreement. And then the franchise will be effective, and it will also comply with the requirements of the utility affordability statutes. So Bill 19, it was called, that was brought forward this year, if you're familiar with it. And our franchise fee rate will remain at 5.26 for 2024. With that, council and mayor and council, I'm open to any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Ms. McDonald, for your presentation. Council, do you have any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, thank you very much for your presentation. Somebody would like to make a motion to give council first reading to bylaw number 2300. Go ahead, Councillor Chenard.
I'll make the first reading.
All right. Thank you, Councillor Chenard. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion is carried unanimously. Can I get a motion, please, that second reading be given to bylaw number 2300? Councillor Chachka.
I'll move to second reading.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Chachka. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion is carried. Can I get a motion that bylaw number 2300 be placed for third reading? Go ahead, Councillor Moore.
I will make that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. All those in favor? That motion is carried unanimously. And can I get a motion, please, that council give third reading to bylaw number 2300? Councillor Bevan.
Make the motion, council give third reading to bylaw number 2300.
Thank you, Councillor Bevan. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. And next up, we have Miss Julia Darling, who will be presenting on the draft intermunicipal development plan bylaw number 2306. Go ahead, Miss Darling.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll introduce Kyle Miller from Chef for Andrew once again to do a presentation on the three bylaws we're bringing forward for second and third reading. Kyle, you can take it away and share your screen.
I did not have the screen ready to present, but I can do that, or Julia, if you want, I can bring that up. But thank you very much for having me here tonight to present on three bylaws that we're bringing forward. Bylaws 2306, which is an amendment to the intermunicipal development plan. Bylaw 2307, which is an amendment to the municipal development plan. And bylaw 2309, which is a bylaw to adopt the Bench Creek area structure plan. I'll let the technology catch up with us for a second. As I was saying, and as I was able to present very recently at the public hearing that took place, the original Bench Creek area structure plan was adopted in 2009. And the landowner has had the opportunity to acquire some additional land and has made application to amend the Bench Creek area structure plan to enlarge the plan area.
Kyle, can I interrupt for a second? So
Yes.
we can't use the click share on this computer as well as have you on the board.
All right. Well, I've just about
Sorry.
got this thing up. We're in good timing. No worries. I love when we get to learn new things about technology. Slideshow. So there was our lovely introductory screen, and this is where I was. So the current Bench Creek area structure plan, and I'm probably not sharing that.
Your screen isn't sharing right now.
Fun with technology. Apologies for the technical difficulties. Are we seeing it now?
It looks like
Perfect.
it is starting. There we go. Perfect.
All right, we're all here now. So we're here to talk about three bylaws, 2306, 2307, and 2309. 2306 amends the Edson Intermunicipal Development Plan. Bylaw 2307 amends the Municipal Development Plan. And Bylaw 2309 repeals and replaces the Bench Creek Area Structure Plan. As I mentioned, the landowner that owns the lands within the plan area has acquired some additional land, and as a result has made an amendment to the town and the county to expand the plan area of the Bench Creek area structure plan. The plan area of the Bench Creek area structure plan is shown in both the IDP, the intermunicipal development plan, and the MDP, and as a result, amendments to those two plans are required in addition to the amendment for the repeal and replace. So on the right, we have a figure showing in red, outlining the new area of the Bench Creek area structure plan. We did have a public hearing that took place on these three proposed bylaws on August 20th, 2024. A week later, Yellowhead County held a public hearing on the Bench Creek area structure plan and the intermunicipal development plan. Because the Town of Edson Municipal Development Plan does not apply to lands outside of the Town of Edson, Yellowhead County was not required to hold a public hearing regarding that matter. No significant objections were raised at either public hearing, and I know council was provided with a summary of the presentations and the testimony that was heard at the Town of Edson public hearing for your information, and that is attached to the request for decision. At the Yellowhead County public hearing, there were two changes that were identified. One was a typographical error in section 6.2.1. If you see that second bullet point on the right-hand side in the initial version that was presented, in brackets it said 1 instead of 2, so there was a typographical error there. And then the figure showing the proposed lot configuration and parcel configuration of a potential subdivision was revised to identify that existing approaches to lots 6 and 7, which are both within Yellowhead County, will be removed, and that joint approaches will be required in order to be consistent with Yellowhead County's access management policy. As a result, we are bringing forward these two amendments to the Bench Creek Area Structure Plan tonight in order that the document that we adopt is consistent and identical to the bylaw that is adopted by Yellowhead County. We'll get to that in a little bit more detail, but you'll notice that the recommended motion from administration tonight for bylaw 2309 is a little bit different than the recommended motions for 2306 and 2307. First reading for these three bylaws took place earlier this year on July 16th at regular meeting of council. And as I said, the Town of Edson held the public hearing for these three matters on August 20th, 2024. And these are in accordance with section 692 of the Municipal Government Act, which requires that council, before giving second reading to a proposed bylaw, to adopt an intermunicipal development plan, a municipal development plan, an area structure plan, or a bylaw that amends any of them, that you have to have a public hearing. There are specific requirements for what must be included in a public hearing. Primarily, the Municipal Government Act requires that notice must be published at least twice in a newspaper circulating in the municipality, or be mailed or delivered to every residence in the area to which the proposed bylaw or bylaws relate. And the proposed bylaws were published. Notice of the public hearing was published in the Weekly Anchor on August 6th and August 13th. And in addition to that, adjacent landowners within the town were provided notice of the public hearing by both hand delivery and registered mail. Further, the Municipal Government Act requires that a public hearing take place during a regular or special meeting of council, and that all members of the public or persons claiming to be affected must be provided with an opportunity to present their testimony to council. As I said, the public hearing took place during the regular meeting of council on August 20th, and council heard all persons who were in attendance at the public hearing and wished to be heard by council. Therefore, in my opinion, the notification and public hearing requirements identified within the Municipal Government Act have been satisfied, in addition to the requirements outlined for how a public hearing has to be conducted. Just a little bit of a housekeeping note for council. There is a requirement in the Municipal Government Act in section 184 that a councillor who is not present at a public hearing must abstain from voting on the bylaw or resolution if they are absent from the public hearing. There was 2 councillors who were absent at that public hearing on August 20th. And as a result, those 2 councillors are unable to vote on the public or on the second and third readings of the bylaws this afternoon. But based on the information that we have, And in our opinion, bylaw 2306, which is an amendment to the Edson Intermunicipal Development Plan, conforms to the requirements of section 12 and section 631 of the MGA. Further, in our opinion, proposed bylaw 2307 conforms to the requirements of section 632 of the Municipal Government Act. And in the opinion of the planner, the proposed Bench Creek Area Structure Plan conforms to the requirements of section 633 of the Municipal Government Act. I do have a recommendation for council, but prior to providing the recommendation, do we have any questions or concerns?
Council, do you have any questions, comments, or concerns? You can continue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. As a result of the information that we've provided here today, and further to the public hearing being held on August 20th, we recommend that council give consideration of second and third reading of proposed bylaws 2306 and 2307, as well as bylaw 2309 as amended.
Thank you very much for your presentation. All right, council, any questions from administration before we start putting the motions on the floor? Seeing none, can I get a motion, please, the council give second reading to bylaw number 2306? Councillor Pisichny.
I'll move second reading.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion is carried with councillors Chouinard and Moore abstaining as they were not at the public hearing. Can I get a motion, please, the council give third reading to bylaw number 2306? Go ahead, Councillor Taylor.
I so move.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion is carried. Can I get a motion, please, the council give second reading to bylaw number 2307? Councillor Chachka.
I so move.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion is carried. Can I get a motion, please, that council give third reading to bylaw number 2307? Councillor Bevan.
I'll make it so.
Thank you, Councillor Bevan. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion is carried. Can I get a motion, please, that council give second reading to bylaw number 2309 with the following amendments? Section 6.2.1 of bylaw number 2309 be revised to state 2 rural district lots from parcel B lying wholly within Yellowhead County. B, the image on page 14 be revised to remove the words consolidation area from the area bounded by the black box. C, figure 7 shown on page 19 be revised to identify that the existing approaches to proposed lot 6 and proposed lot 7 will be removed, and a joint approach will be required along the boundary between lots 6 and 7. Who would like to make that motion? Councillor Pisichny?
Yeah, I'll move bylaw number 2309 with amendments A, B, and C.
Thank you for the shortened version. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion is carried. And can I get a motion, please, that council give third reading to bylaw number 2309 as amended? Councillor Taylor.
I so move.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion is carried. Thank you very much. Next up, Ms. Tricia Papke on the 2024 public auction for property tax recovery.
Good evening. So the process for unpaid taxes is legislated by our MGA. As per that MGA, titled properties with 2 years arrears and manufactured homes with 1 year's arrears had a lien placed on them in March of 2023. Any of those accounts from that list, those listings that still had arrears as of March 31st of this year, and now or have tax agreements that have defaulted on their tax agreement payments of their tax arrears are now to be taken to public auction for the recovery of these arrears. Administration is requesting that council set the public auction date as November 19th, 2024.
Thank you, Ms. Popke. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Councillor Pasichny.
Yeah, through the mayor to Ms. Papke, do we have any arrears currently that we require the date?
We do. As of right now, we have 3 titled properties and 2 modular or mobile homes, manufactured homes that are currently in this condition, in this status. Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? If not, I will take a motion, please, council. Go ahead, Councillor Chenard.
I'll make the motion.
And what would that motion be?
The motion be for the public hearing be set November 19th, is that correct?
2024 for
2024.
unpaid property taxes. Thank you. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. Next up, we have Ms. Morgan Roberts, Letter of Support, eVentures eZip Funding, ATCO.
Thank you very much. The eVentures program is a community-driven collaborative initiative with the objective of building DC fast charger EV charging networks across the rural region of Northwest Alberta. The program is supported by an advisory committee consisting of representatives from 9 different local governments across the region, including the town of Edson. The museum parking lot site was identified as the location for the charging station in proximity with Edson. Due to its technical capacity, proximity to amenities, and contribution to overall network connectivity. There have been previous letters of support that have been written by this council for the program, and tonight we are requesting a letter of support that is attached to your package for the application for Zero Emissions Vehicle Infrastructure Program, and that funding is endorsing ATCO as the primary contractor for the work. I don't have any more of a presentation to update you on, but I'd be happy to take any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts. Questions, comments, or concerns? Go ahead, Councillor Moore.
Thank you, through the chair. Just curious, how well used are our current charging stations in town?
Through the mayor. That's a really interesting question. I don't have any figures on the actual usage. The charging stations are privately owned that are here in the community. If that's something that council wish to have some more information on, I'd be happy to find out.
Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, through the mayor to Mr. Roberts, thank you. I know we get a lot of notifications from residents outside our community that they do like the charging stations. They sometimes like to choose this route because we have these charging stations. Not a lot of places, or not all places in Alberta have them, so it's great to see that we do. And I guess I'm a little confused because I know the museum is the location. I had already thought we had sort of approved that process a while ago. Is this a repeat? I guess I'm confused about, or is this the next step in that? Because I thought we'd already had done that or approved something like that a while back.
Through the chair. Essentially, this is an application for funding that the committee is going after. It is a large sum of funding, and this would take the project in through the next level. And if this funding is secured, there would be a construction in 2025.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Councillor Chachka.
Thanks. Through the chair to Ms. Roberts, thanks for bringing this forward. Is this a federal government grant or provincial? And then the next part of it was, when would we roughly find back if we were eligible for the grant?
I do believe this is federal, and the application would go in right away in September. That's why it was a time-sensitive piece, with the follow-up expected in December, if not early January.
Thank you, Councillor Chenard.
Through the mayor to Ms. Ms. Roberts, refresh my memory. There was a grant. Now, what would our cost? Was our cost nil? I'm just trying to figure the facts. So if we went ahead with charging system, what would the cost be to the town of Edson to put these in?
Through the chair, at this time, we are not asking for any additional funds, and the grant would be taking care of the next statement of money.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions, comments, or concerns? Just further to Councillor Taylor's point, yes, we did approve a location before. This is a specific project pertaining to ATCO wanting to manage the project. Yeah, so this will allow them to, or allow the group to apply for the grant, and hopefully they're successful. Prairie to Peaks, I think that's the project in southern Alberta. They've received funding to make their project happen. This would be kind of the northern Alberta version of it, which is why the city of Grand Prairie and the city of Edmonton have joined forces on this, because there is very much lacking charging stations, connected network along northern Alberta routes. We've been fortunate at Edson since we started talking about this. We've had a lot of private investment come in, and we just actually had a new charging station just open up at one of our hotels here. So, and we are, ideally located on the Yellowhead between Jasper and Edmonton, a perfect charging location for that. So, thank you very much for your presentation, Ms. Roberts. And council will take a motion that council authorize Mayor Zahara to sign the letter of support for the eVentures program with ATCO as the chosen contractor as set out in attachment 1. Go ahead, Councillor Bevan.
I'll make the motion that council authorize Mayor Zahara to sign the letter of support for the eVentures program of ATCO as a chosen contractor as set out in attachment 1.
Thank you, Councillor Bevan. Any further questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Mr. Ryan O'Sullivan, Vision Park Funding Request Phases 2 and 3.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here to present on Vision Park Phase 2 and 3 funding request. So in 2022 to 2024, Phase 1 of Vision Park redevelopment was awarded to J&H Construction. The work was completed in 2023 with minor cleanup, resolving deficiencies, and was mostly completed in 2024. The scope was including site grading, topsoil seeding, and shale in the infields. This project did not include any fencing or dugouts, which was planned to be budgeted for in the capital 2024. Where we have $315,000 set aside for that. This work was delayed until the fall to allow the new grass seed to take hold. As you can see in picture 1, which was to the top right of the 5 diamonds. So July 30th, 2024, we met with the Edson Minor Ball and Edson Slow Pitch groups. The Minor Ball indicated that they were previously promised 2 U18 diamonds. So these were removed when the initial tender came in significantly over budget in 2022. The area developed for Phase 1, and it also doesn't have enough room to accommodate the 300 plus feet with a 60-foot backstop in that area to accommodate the U18 diamonds. Slow Pitch was hoping to have at least 4 270-foot plus diamonds. They prefer 300 feet because of the batters are heavy hitters, I guess. So they want bigger than smaller. So, and they host provincials and league tournaments, which they cannot do at this time right now in Edson. Once phase was to complete, there will be 3 300-foot plus slow pitch diamonds. So that helped out their cause a little bit. So phase 1, which is complete, there's 5 slow pitch diamonds. The grading and seeding, and that's diamonds 1, 2, 3, 4, and 25. Parking lot and a ring road, and the cost of that was $1.9 million. Phase 2, an estimation, this is completion of the diamonds of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 25. This is backstops, fencing around the perimeter of the ball diamonds with toppers, gates, and markers, dugouts, and this cost is $450,000 to finish off the 5. Now, this is phase 3, which is all in. This is replacing the playground that was there before, rebuilding diamonds 18 and 21 to accommodate the baseball U18 and U13, rebuilding diamonds 19 and 20 to 275 feet plus for slow pitch, a batting cage, field furniture, which includes bleachers, picnic tables, garbage cans, and diamond signage, and perimeter fencing around the whole Vision Park. So, and then we have a phase 3, which is light. We came in, we removed a few things. So this is replacing the playground, rebuilding diamond 1821 to the U18 and U13 standards, and that's all. So that's the picture on the top left there. And the playground is in the light green in the middle. So we're requesting the Vision Park reserves a 1.608625 plus the 315,000 we already have in the capital funds be allocated into a capital budget of 1.923625. So our phase 2 is going to be 450. Phase 3 all in is 1.6. So we don't have enough money is what it is. So what we're doing is we're trying to lighten things up to fit with the allotted money that we have in reserves as well as what's in capital. So what we're recommending is doing all of phase 2 and a phase 3 light. So this estimated pre-tender cost will be around $1.6 million. And then there'll be outstanding improvements which we'll be asking for in coming years to finish off the phase 3 all in. So it'll be the batting cages, park perimeter fencing, retrofittings 19 and 20, and field furniture, the bleachers, the picnic tables, the waste baskets, so forth. So if council supports the remaining funds being transferred from reserves, the recommended work will be tendered immediately. It's ready to go so that construction can start this fall. The construction will obviously not get all completed this fall, but will carry over into the next spring and summer. And any funds removed from the reserves for this project that are not spent will be returned back to the reserve budget once the project is complete or with council approval. We may allocate deferred into extra pieces that we would like to put into the ball diamonds, like the stuff for under the $700,000. Any questions?
All right, council, we will open the floor to questions. Councillor Pisichny.
Yeah, through the mayor. Before we start any more construction or move any more diamonds, are we going to have all the backstops and stuff on the currently redone diamonds? Will they be open before we do the other ones?
It'll all be part of this tender.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Moore.
Through the chair to Mr. O'Sullivan. How's the drainage out there going to be? I know in the past it's been somewhat lacking in some areas, but how's that coming along?
So with phase 1, there was drainage work done into the top fields, which drains it all down to the bottom. There is one area that puddles right now, which it's going to be in our internal workings to plug that plug at this moment. So it'll be done in-house. Just sand and seed, sorry.
Thank you. Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, through the mayor, Mr. O'Sullivan, thank you bringing this forward. This is a project that I kind of came into on council, and it's kind of gone on for quite a bit. So happy to see it progressing. The biggest question I have is, how do the user groups feel about this plan that's being brought forward tonight to go ahead with phase 2 and phase 3 light, as it were? Are they satisfied with this? Because this is the biggest reason. I'm not a user out there. I want to make sure the users that do use it are happy and satisfied with what they're going to get. Because if not, then it's a tough sell to go through with this. So you spoke with the users on July 30th. I don't know if you spoke to them sort of since or before this was presented and how they're feeling. Just thoughts on that.
Through the mayor. Yes, so we've had several talkings after the fact. I know there's some concerns about the location of the U18 being off in the left field, the parking not being close enough, but that's the only place in Vision Park that field will fit. Because it's a 350-foot outfield, they want 60-foot behind. Those are the kind of the U18 standards that they need. That's the only place in Vision Park it will fit. So it's we're kind of pigeonholed of where we can put these diamonds.
Go ahead, Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, just to further that, so would you say, obviously, for the most part, they are supportive of what we have presented, and they're satisfied moving forward with this plan? Is that?
I think yes. We are creating a place where all softball, baseball can actually hold tournaments, hold events in one location. Instead of being all over the place, they're kind of all in one area. We're accommodating and getting diamonds built for the entire spectrum of users.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Council. Any further questions, comments, or concerns? Go ahead, Councillor Chachka.
Thanks. Through the chair to administration. Thanks for bringing this forward. I can't help but notice that it's being brought forward a little bit earlier than our capital budget, at least the most recent one that I had on my desk. So that's interesting. A couple questions, and I thought I read it in the package here, but I can't seem to find it again. How much was the total amount that we've already spent for phase one? That was the first question, and then the other one was we had some kind of funds donated towards this project, and I'm just wondering if they were already all spent in the phase one portion of it.
So phase one was $1.9 million, and the money that was donated was put towards phase one, and we have in reserves.
All right, thank you. Council, do you have any further questions, comments, or concerns? So just ideally, obviously, it would be nice to have, the U18 diamond closer to where the concession is, and same thing with the U13. But the reality is where they're playing right now, there is no concession, there's no washroom facilities. And so it will be nice to have them within Vision Park. This project has been way more expensive than we initially anticipated. A lot of that has to do with the cost of shale, which is very expensive. That is, I believe, trucked in from all the way from Saskatchewan, if I'm not mistaken. One of the things that I definitely want to see out there are batting cages and some of the other amenities. And if we need to see some of that stuff happening, I think our user groups may need to look at helping out with some fundraising activities and that sort of thing. We have seen progress. Grass does not grow overnight, and it's looking, actually just drove out there looking pretty good. So it'd be nice to get, the diamonds 1, 2, 3, and 4 and number 25 up and running as a part of this project. I guess, is there any plans or considerations going to upgrading the washroom facilities up where diamond 18 is and diamond number 21? Because I know it's just an old outhouse there for now.
Yeah, at this time we just have the outhouses. It's something we can bring back to council for future budget. Absolutely. We can always mix it in with the next round of putting in the site furniture and that good stuff.
All right, thank you. And the funding that's coming from reserve for this project is also, they were also donated contributions as well, right? So this is not tax dollars going to fund this project. This is actually funding that has been provided from a third party.
Correct.
That's right. All right, thank you. Council, do you have any further questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. O'Sullivan, for your presentation. And council, I will take a motion, please. Go ahead, Councillor Taylor.
I move the council approve a transfer of $1,608,625 from the G7276101 Vision Park Reserve to GL4-72-95047 in the capital budget to complete the Vision Park ball diamonds for all user groups.
Thank you. Thank you for that motion. And I believe instead of G, you meant to say number 6, right?
Oh, man, glasses on, and it's the first day of school. That's why
You make the motion as set out in the agenda package. All right, thank you, Councillor Taylor. Any questions, comments, or concerns? I just want to reiterate, the cost of this project is been a lot, and it's a lot to swallow. But the cost of these things are quite large. So, go ahead, Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, through the mayor and to administration, and Mayor Zahara sort of alluded to this within when he was speaking earlier about the user groups looking at fundraising and things like this. This is the kind of project that kind of really fits well, perhaps into a CFEP grant or some provincial grants and things like that. I would hope so, anyways. And certainly, if user groups come back with, half the cost in terms of that, that makes it pretty difficult for us to say no. And if there's assistance that they need to do that, then I think it's in our best interest to assist them because it upgrades our facilities and it brings them to the table as well. So taking initiative on their own, and Mayor Zahara alluded to that in his comments, I think is important. And if they're willing to do that, I fully support them doing that. So.
Through the mayor, yes, they that was part of it. They said they would be going out for funding.
Yeah, and again, like looking out for grants and things like that, it's important. So, and any assistance that the town can provide, hopefully we can. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Council, any further questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion is carried unanimously. Thank you, Mr. O'Sullivan. Next, Mr. Clayton Kitlitz, Rail Safety Week Proclamation. Go ahead, Mr. Kitlitz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Just a brief presentation on the RFD before Council. Our friends at CN are asking us to support their Rail Safety Week with a proclamation between September 23rd and 29th of this year. Administration is happy to recommend this proclamation for Council, and if Council supports it, certainly we will be advertising such through our social media. So I won't read what's in the RFD. It's pretty self-explanatory. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Council, any questions, comments, or concerns? Thank you, Mr. Kitlitz. Can I get a motion, please, that Council proclaim the week of September 23rd to 29th, 2024 as Rail Safety Week in the town of Edson? Councillor Chenard?
I'll gladly make this one. That Council proclaims the week of September 23rd, 2024 as Rail Safety Week in the town of Edson.
Thank you. All those in favor? That motion is carried. And we have item G5. And I think we have, go ahead. Mr. Kitlitz?
I'll start off if you're calling for that.
Go ahead, Mr. Kitlitz.
So, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to call Mr. McKell up to give the details, but as Council is aware, we have a project ongoing with 10th Ave Sanitary, and we also developed a sinkhole a little bit on the east portion of that project about 3 weeks, a month back. When we went to repair that sinkhole, we found some new information, I guess I'll call it, that have added complexities to this project. So Mr. McKell is going to go through some of those complexities, and sorry for bringing this on at last minute. Obviously, it's an existing project. We're getting close to this portion of the project, and timing and scope of work and all kinds of things are at play here. So we try to provide some options for Council to consider, given the complexities of all this. So Mr. McKell will come up and give some details on that.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Once again, I apologize for having this at the last minute, but due to time restrictions, we're trying to get directions from Council. We had a sinkhole on 10th Ave just east of 53rd, and when we excavated to explore what's going on, we realized that one of the sanitary services serving one of the houses on the south side is cutting through the storm line, as you see in the picture. And it's not a failure of the storm. From the way you see it in the picture, it looks like it's a saw cut. So basically it was meant to be installed this way, which is not the correct way for having sanitary services. Based on my conversation with the operators, and we have the preliminary CCTV camera for the storm line. Apparently, this is not the only service done this way. There might be 2 or 3 more. Again, based on the sinkhole and the gap you see in the pipe, there is a significant amount of gravel and soil went inside the storm line, and that's what created the sinkhole. Right now, we kind of between 3 options. I will explore the 3 options, and I request directions from council. Just to clarify, the picture I'm taking right now, I'm looking west. So this service is serving as a house on the south side, and there will be 2 or 3 more services. We talked to the contractor last week, and he advised that he wouldn't feel comfortable just repairing this with another patch, which is not the right practice. He will not warranty the work for the storm, and he wouldn't even warranty the work for the sanitary, because there is a potential for having another sinkhole and settlement for and sagging for the newly installed sanitary line. So just to clarify where this sinkhole is, this is the snapshot of the map showing pretty much the limit for our project for this year ends where my cursor is. The sinkhole we found is at this location, and we are expecting 2 or maybe more. I will ask for a CCTV tomorrow to see how many more services been installed this way. So here are the 3 recommendations. Number 1 is to reduce the scope of work for 10th Ave project, and pretty much, I will go back to the map, pretty much stop here, and not to finish this block for this year. However, this block will be added to project B1 that I came to and asked council for funding for design, which anticipated upon council approval for construction for 2025. It's linking to the same project, so that's option number 1. Here, as per the red line, this will be the kind of end of the project, reducing the scope of work for this. However, this will be subject to 2 items. Number 1, contract review, because I need to ensure that if I cut the scope at this level, I don't have to negotiate with the contractor for the portion was done, because there is an item in the contract saying if we cut the scope below 80% of what he bid on, we have to go into negotiation. So I want to make sure that whatever work was done and due for payment is above this limit. That's number 1. Number 2, I need to do more investigation. I need to hydrovac to explore how many services are done this way. I need to ensure that I have enough elevations between the property line and the existing storm to make sure that if we replace the section, just 1 section for the storm for each service, I still have enough grade for the sanitary service. It will not drain backwards. So this is option number 1, and this is kind of my recommended option, because, and again, I'm not saying this is the route we are going to. I just need a green light from council that if after investigation and contract review, we find that this is the best option, I don't have to come back to council again. I get the green light that I can take the decision of cutting the scope at this limit and adding this portion to the project B1. Option number 2 is twinning the sanitary line, which means, so I have here is the storm line. The current or the existing sanitary is north of the storm, and the services are crossing on top of it. So another option is to add another sanitary line on the south side. This sanitary line will service the houses on the south. The north one, the existing, will service the houses on the north. This way, I'm kind of eliminating the conflict between crossing services over the storm. However, still the storm line has to be replaced. So this will involve adding a new pipe of sanitary on the south side. That's what I mean by twinning. And replacement of the storm line or the bad portion of the storm line, which means increase of scope of work. This might require more fund. I will have to do calculations, see how much will it cost. In addition to increase of the schedule, which I don't really have this option. We're already in September. and I don't want to reach winter time. And if the scope of work is increased and the schedule is expanded, we might hit winter time, which means we have to shut down and come back to finish it next year. So this is option number 2. Option number 3 is upgrade the existing sanitary line without touching the services. It's like I just focus on the main line without touching the services going south or north, which is, to me, it's not recommended, but I had to put it as an option to give council all the options, and it's up to you based on your directions. This is not the good practice. It's pretty much, I have seen, we have known that there is a deficiency, and we're just ignoring it, putting it aside and focusing on the sanitary. And we already know from some of the residents on the south side that there are some issues with the services. We have received 2 complaints once they knew that we are doing this project, saying that they know and they had a camera in last year or the year before, and they know that their service is sagging between the store, between the sanitary and the property line, which means it's highly recommended, since we already digging a trench and replacing the water main, to replace the services at least up to the property line, which we have been doing since we started. So these are the 3 options, and this is pretty much the situation right now. And the yellow highlighted portion is the portion left of the project. If we have to cut the scope, this will be added to project B1. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that update. Hard to believe somebody thought that was a good idea at the time. Councillor Pasichny.
Yeah, through the mayor. The question I have is on they're replacing the sanitary, and this is the storm that's been cut into it, and they said they can't patch it and warranty it. So how do we cover that back up and leave it for a year if you can't properly patch it? So how would we close it up for a year and readdress the situation next year as per your number 1 recommendation when they said you can't patch that? So I'm curious in how we would put that back together to get through the winter.
Through the mayor to Councillor Pasichny, just to let you know, this sinkhole has already been repaired in-house. So we are being proactive because we have known the problem and we know it's repeated. So we know that we're coming across 2 or 3 of them. So for this one, it has already been repaired in-house. I can say it's a kind of temporary repair. They had a plastic wrap on top of it, and they had some concrete or backfill, and that's how you would patch it. However, if we decide to patch it, I can ask for engineering solution to have a mesh or piece of PVC pipe on top of it and have enough concrete to make sure that the flow will not pop this up again. I will have to have something engineered to ensure that the contractor is comfortable to carry out this work and provide us the warranty. Would that answer your question? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to add one clarity to that. What Mr. McKell was saying the first time, though, is that as if GS went and finished their project and replaced the sanitary line and then just patched the storm the way it is now. They wouldn't warranty it. What we're suggesting is we're not even going to replace that sanitary line. We'll patch that. We patched that one already. We'll leave that for the winter. It's been like that for, I think our record stops 1970 sometime.
72, yeah.
72. And then when we do this project next year, we come back and fix that up. So just that clarity, that's when they wouldn't warranty it if they put in their new line, right?
Councillor Pasichny, a follow-up?
Yeah, just my concern was more, like I understand the stopping of the project and they weren't going to warranty anything if we continued. My concern was, how do we put that road back together and get through the winter? So if you're comfortable in a patch and concrete and we'll get through the winter as it's been doing since, did you say 72? So 52 years. Pretty fast math, eh? That's only because I was born in 74. So yeah, for 52 years it's been like that. So I just want to make sure that we can get through the winter and then re-engineer that. Because actually my next question was going to be, what year was it installed? Can we go back to the insurance? But that's a long time ago. So I just wanted to make sure that we could patch that road and not have 4 sinkholes appearing through the winter.
No, correct. For now it's patched, and I believe it can hold until winter if we decide to cut the scope at this stage. And for next year, when we add the section to project B1, I will not include just the sanitary, I will include replacement of the storm as well, so we can replace the whole section, because even if the integrity of the concrete pipe for the storm is good, but it's good for each individual segment. When I looked at the CCTV and I'm asking for another one tomorrow, I see segregation or separation between the two segments of concrete, and the gasket is falling, so the whole line needs to be reestablished.
Councillor Chachka.
Thanks. Through the mayor to Mr. McKell. Thanks for bringing this forward. This is great. My question, that was sarcasm, just in case anybody had any unclear portions of that. So I'm following your first recommendation, and I think that's what I like. I want to just ask some questions about the option number 2. With twinning a line, so I'll use an example in the oil field, and maybe sanitary lines don't work the same way, and that's possible. But in the oil field, they try to avoid twin lines because one line will become the path of least resistance, and that's where the flow will have a tendency to go, and then the other line will be a bit dead, or they won't have the flow moving through it. And I'm just wondering, I'm not sure how this would align up together, but is that a possibility if we go with the twinning of the line, that there could be some kind of issues with paths of least resistance going forward?
Thank you so much for your question. Through the mayor to Council Chachika, it depends on the source of the flow. If you have one pipe branching into two, this can happen. What you just explained can happen, that one branch can take more flow than the other one. However, these two are being fed by different houses. So the houses in the north will be feeding flow to the north line. Houses in the south will be feeding flow to the south line. And we already have the sanitary line twinned, starting from 52nd, going west all the way to 56. So it's already twinned. We're just extending the twin for this east portion. Just to be more accurate, it can slightly impact the velocity, because when you have 50 houses, for argument's sake, 50 houses discharging to one line, you have a good flow, you have good velocity. It will help for self-cleaning for the line because you have kind of continuous flow. This might reduce the flow a bit, which is impacting the velocity, the speed of the flow, which might need more attention for maintenance to flush the line more often. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Chenard.
Through the chair, I'm a little bit confused, but like that, so where you said GS said that they're gonna put their line through, they won't warranty their line or the repair, because you're putting the new line next to where the sinkhole is that correct? I just want clarification on that.
Through the mayor to Council Chenard, based on my understanding from the conversation last week, they don't want to warranty both their repair, if we just ask for a patch, so they don't want to warranty the repair for the storm line, and they don't want to warranty the newly installed sanitary line in this block, in this portion, because they are saying we're already doing a poor work for the storm, which might lead to another sinkhole, and this will cause the soil to wash away again, which will create settlement or sagging for the new line. So they don't want to take risk for both.
Okay, thanks. I just wanted clarification on that.
Thank you.
Councillor Pasic.
Yeah, through the mayor. So now, because of this whole project is to alleviate a lot of uphill problems. So would this mean then we'd still maintain the current engineering of the larger to relieve the pressure, but we'd add a second? Like, we're not going to lower the size of the one pipe because we're taking some off of it, are we?
Lowering which pipe?
So like if we twin the line, so when they re-engineer it, let's say, because they're gonna have to put the one on the south, that won't affect the scope of the project uphill from there.
No, it will not.
Okay, but basically, if we hold up the project this year and re-engineer this, then we'll have a better shot at it next year, and we just re-tender it at that time.
Exactly. And just to clarify, for next year, it might not be twinning. It will give more time for the engineering firm to have more options or study. Can we reduce the size of this storm? Can we have PVC so it's less diameter? Do we have enough difference in elevation between the property line on the south and the existing storm? It will give time. Now we have a very tight time restrictions, so we're trying to kind of be proactive and have a decision. So it might not be ending twinning the line, but this is one of the options for having this.
Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, through the mayor, thank you for bringing this forward. Hearing the discussion and great questions all around. Looking at the options, certainly number 3 is off the table for me. And based on the questions and answers given, seems like option 1 for me seems to be the most suitable option, and then we can get the work completely done next year the right way and not half do it or create new lines or maybe unnecessary work. So obviously frustrating that we have to do this, but let's do it the right way. And if we have to, retender it or complete the project, say next year, then I think that's the best option. So that's my comments. I don't know whether we'll need.
Thank you so much.
Just direction is all we're getting, I believe.
We will be taking a motion here just momentarily, but just to Mr. McHale. So if we cut the project scope, is the work that has already been completed or will be completed, are those lines going to be in service for the spring?
Yeah, correct. Yes. And just one more time to clarify that I'm not going this direction. I'll wait until I have more investigation, but I just need the green light from council tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So with the information that we've been able to uncover through the sinkhole that appeared, could that have been some of the causes of some of the flooding in that area as well? Or we don't know that at this point in time?
I cannot confirm this at this time. In addition, that this is for the storm. Definitely having so much gravel in the storm line can cause backup in the storm, but as per my knowledge, the backup issue we have with the houses was related to the sanitary, not the storm.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Go ahead, Mr. Kitlitz.
So I just want to provide a bit of clarification. So option 1 is what we're recommending, and as Mr. McHale said, once we've talked with the contractor and done some more investigation, it may work out and it may not. And if it doesn't, if it turns out we can't do that, we'll be coming back probably on the 17th with a request for more money to do number 2, because that's really where we'll be at, right? That'll be our, right? Is that correct? Yeah.
Correct. Or based on the investigation we're planning to do in the coming 2 days, we might have an option of just, we have enough elevation so the engineering firm will say, okay, you know what? We have elevation, we can tie in to the existing sanitary, and we will ask the contractor, instead of replacing the whole storm line, just replace 3 or 5 meters for each service. So one section, take this pipe out with the notch on it and have a new pipe, and it will do it for as many services if it is 2 or 3 services. So this can be an option as well. So either we have a solution to repair and continue, or we will come back for asking for more money if we decide to twin.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. McHale. So through to administration, do we have a motion that is being prepared for us? I believe I'm hearing from council that option 1 is the preferred option. Councilor Pisichny?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I would prefer option 1 to have it properly engineered and completed next year instead of trying to Mickey Mouse it. So.
Agreed.
Through the mayor to all of council, I'm just going to share my screen here for you then with option 1.
All right, so the motion is that council direct administration proceed with option 1 for the 10th Avenue Sanitary Upgrade Project. Councilor Chachka, would you like to make that motion?
Yes, I would make that motion.
Thank you. Any further questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. All right, council committee reports. We are going back to August the 21st. And we will start today with Councillor Bevan.
I have nothing to report.
Thank you, Councillor Bevan. Councillor Taylor.
On August 21st, I attended a finance committee meeting for the Edson and District Public Library, And also on the 21st, I attended a board meeting where we officially hired our new library manager, Sarah Tanowski, who hails from Forestburg. Her first day of work was on August 26th. And so we have a newly furnished or newly renovated library, new manager. So things are looking good there. And I know our administration is working hard on a grand opening with a date to be announced soon, sometime in the fall. So on the 23rd, I attended the Mayor's Golf Tournament, raising money for the Edson and District Public Library, all the furnishings. Certainly bouncing around, I think it was like 20,000 with official numbers coming soon. It was a great turnout. Everybody had fun, I would say. Of the 3 Mayor's Golf Tournaments, it's certainly in the top 3 Mayor's Golf Tournaments that we've had. So well done. I think it was my favorite anyways. And on August 30th, I attended, along with other members of council, raising the survivors flag for residential schools here at the town office. And I just want to say it was great to see so many Town of Edson staff step outside and join us in that ceremony with our Indigenous partners, not only staff from this building, but from the Leisure Center, from Griffiths Park, from Public Works. It was fantastic to see everybody, as well as Staff Sergeant Delisle and members of our RCMP also came over to show their support and their work and commitment towards reconciliation, and this falls perfectly within town strategic plans. So that's it for my report.
Thank you. Councillor Chachka.
I have nothing to report.
Thank you, Councillor Chachka. Councillor Chenard.
I'm on. Since I didn't get the vote in 3 of the ones, I will go back to August 14th. We had a special meeting with Evergreen Personnel Matter. August 29th, I cannot pronounce the proper name, but we went to the Elders Lodge being built up by Grand Cache Victor Lake. How's it pronounced? Kikina. And what we did is it's called the last bolt. So in their culture, the highest point of the building, which is the teepee part of the building, the last bolt being put in was put in on September 29th, and finishing on the building will be sometime in January. So it was interesting to go up there. And I also attended the raising flag on September 29th, I believe it was, or sorry, August 30th. I have September, so I'll attend it in month's time. And that's it for my report.
Councillor Moore.
Thank you. August 29th, I attended the Edson and District Historical Society AGM. Most interesting. One of the highlights was we were reviewing the civil defense blankets that were sold, and total selling and very popular, and there's not one left now. So everybody has a souvenir of the 50s.
You didn't save me one?
August 30th, I attended the Survivors Flag ceremony, and although I wasn't on stage, August 31st, I volunteered for the EDHS at the WAPME Day in Centennial Park. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Councillor Moore. Councillor Pisichny.
I was busy as Councillor Bevan and Councillor Chachka. I have nothing to report.
All right. Thank you. August 23rd, the Mayor's Golf Tournament, where we had 106 registered golfers. I think we had 102 actually show up. So it was a very well attended event, raised a lot more money than I think we initially anticipated, because it was kind of a slow get-go, and final numbers are being tallied, but it was a very successful event. We had some beautiful weather, and I didn't win the 50-50 this time, so people were pretty happy about that. And I want to thank everybody that volunteered to make it such a great success. The Edson Lions Club, the Friends of the Edson Public Library, the Library Board, and a number of town staff. And then on August 30th, I want to thank our elders in the community for the ceremony, for the raising of the survivors flag. It was amazing to see the turnout. And I know it meant a lot to our Indigenous community, and that flag will be raised and flying at Town Hall for the remainder of the month of September. And that is my report. We have no information items, no notices of motion. Can I get a motion, please, that the meeting move into a closed session pursuant to Section 24 of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act? Go ahead, Councillor Chenard.
I'll make the motion to move in camera.
Thank you. All those in favor? That motion's carried unanimously. All right, thank you, everyone. And we do have, I believe, some business arising from the closed session. I don't know if Amanda's online.
Thank you. I'm just going to load my screen here. Did it load? No?
Yes.
Yeah.
So can I get a motion that administration proceed as directed in closed session? Councillor Chachka?
I so move.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carried, meeting adjourned. Thank you.